I hope everybody's feeling fine today on this lovely Thursday afternoon. And thank you so much for joining us. As you know, this is a this is a very special edition of SME Academy, exclusively brought to you by DBS Business Class in collaboration with IMDA, NTUC Learning Hub, Singapore Business Federation, Skills Future Singapore, and Workforce Singapore. Okay, so this live edition of the SME Academy will see a series of four webinars curated for industries that are currently the hardest hit by this current situation and the pandemic they're in. And hopefully exploring with all of us and all of us out there who is currently in this not so great situation, into exploring more insights with you and also some actionable steps. And as we uncover some of these schemes and subsidies that all of us can actually leverage on and continue. Okay, whether it's for training or coming out or implementing or rethinking of business model to go into a digital solution of sorts. Once again, thank you so much for hanging in there and being with me side by side with these technical difficulties. I'm hoping this is going to last us through nice and smooth for the next 1 hour. Without further ado, my name is Mark Xiao and I am your webinar host for today. So welcome online once again. I hope you're doing very well at home, okay, with your family safe with you. Folks, really, at this point in time, we are really in unprecedented times. And just like you and I, many people around the world have been no doubt greatly impacted by this pandemic. So I want to let you know that we're all in the same boat and we're all in this together, whether it's from our business standpoint or careers or employees and much of livelihoods that really has been affected badly by this global crisis. So today's webinar topic is upskilling for the future for the retail sector. And of course, presented by, on behalf of NTUC Learning Hub, which is me. And I have some friends that I brought along today from Skills Future Singapore and Workforce Singapore. And from Skills Future Singapore, we have Aaron. And from Workforce Singapore, of course, we have Eunice. Okay, so Aaron and Eunice is popping up on your screens right now. There he is, okay. And Eunice is waving at us. Hi there. Okay, and of course, I brought them along to answer some of your questions and give you some more insights into some of the available schemes and funding out there and subsidies that you can actually tap on. All right, so just let me take you on a quick overview as to what we will be talking about or having a conversation for the next 1 hour. I really like to kickstart the webinar by sharing an overview of the current retail situation that we are having right now, some of the disruptions that's caused by the situation, and as well some of the things that I see and observe out there, which is quickly becoming, you know, what they say, the new norm of sorts. I'm going to talk a little bit about how our habits are strangely changing and how these habits, you and I, okay, are actually going to impact the way we actually live, work, and of course, in the retail business, buy things. So next, I'll also share on some technologies that's possibly, you know, up and coming, existing ones that are perhaps shaping the future economy, as well as the impact of the technology for, you know, our businesses. And perhaps it's a good time to actually rethink our business models and how we can actually leverage and implement such technologies in small and as well as big ways to prepare for us, okay? So I'll be taking you through for the next half an hour or so, and then of course I'll be passing on the mic to Aaron from Skills Future Singapore, and as well as Eunice. You just saw them just a few moments ago from Workforce Singapore, and of course likewise they will be there to actually share with you some schemes and grants to support all of us as business owners in this workforce transformation that we're experiencing. Now, Just hang on a moment before I continue exploring some of the insights that I'm going to share with you. There is this particular tab that I would like you to pay your attention to. Just two buttons, okay? The two icons there. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a little speech bubble, okay, with those bar charts going on. Now, along the way, there will be a poll, which I would like to invite all of you to actually just go in there and submit your responses just to see how you feel about the situation at hand, and I'll guide you along as we go along. And the other button or the icon below, which is the Q&A, is of course exclusively for all of you to post your questions in, and of course we'll do our best to answer them at the end of the session. Okay, where we actually take all your questions in. And of course, not to worry if we run out of time, okay, and if we go beyond the 1 hour that we have for you. The DBS business class team will actually consolidate all your questions, okay, and together with the respective answers and responses, and they'll definitely email and follow up with you. Okay, so without much delay, let's get things started. So you may be wondering, say, who is this guy talking to you right now and hosting this webinar? Well, in one slide there it is, that fancy super duper. Now, I'm not going to shamelessly market myself or promote myself today, but you can actually Google my name, Mark Xiao, and a whole bunch of various visuals will come out and other information. But here's the story. 1.5 weeks, a little more than 1 week ago, actually, NTUC Learning Hub, which is the trading arm of NTUC, called me up and told me, say, hey, you know, we have this webinar with SME Academy, and it's happening on this date. Would you like to, you know, share a few insights and so on and so on? I say, hey, you know, I'm worried about my business. What's this? And you know, so anyway, I took it up, and that led to another good problem, which was scratching my head and wondering what I could possibly share with all of you. So I decided to actually approach this from one business owner to the other. As you can tell, I do quite a number of things, from having my own corporate training outfit to actually guiding people through the use of numerology, or what they say, Ang Mo Feng Shui. Okay, as well as I also co-own my theater company, my own theater company, together with six other awesome people. Of course, as you can imagine now, as it is the theater and arts scene in Singapore, nobody goes to watch a theater. Okay, it's so hard to get people, and now let's not talk about it. You know, the more I talk about it, I get quite sad. So yes, just like you and I out there, whether we're small business owners and we are running our own outfits and businesses, really I want to approach this webinar today, share with you and have a conversation as to perhaps what I do best, which is to spot some of these behaviors through my 15 years of training, and how some of these new habits are actually impacting us, okay, in very big ways. And perhaps to give you a little bit more insights, and through these insights is to explore some ideas which you and I could possibly implement in our business or in our business models at hand. Okay, so hang in there, and I'm going to take you through to back then, okay, 想当年, as they call it. And really, I'm not going to go through to take you back in time to 1980 to 1990. In fact, not so far away. I'm actually just talking about maybe a little less than 3 months ago. And 3 months ago, all of us were just going about our daily lives, okay, going to the coffee shop to makan, tapao, okay, having a coffee with friends, going to the supermarket freely without having to line up 1 meter apart. Okay, all these were happening. Okay, was business as usual, as they call it, and in an instant, it just hit us. Okay, from sitting down having our tea or kopi, and in an instant now you see all our favorite makan places or coffee shops and F&B outlets all cordoned off. Okay, we can't eat there. And in an instant as well, okay, more news came dynamically with air travel, countries shutting down their borders, implementing all these restrictions for people coming in. Um, Tourism and air travel took a standstill. 96% of our dear Singapore Airlines and respective Scoot sister airlines all of a sudden now have to park their planes in a desert somewhere in Australia. I believe it's Alice Springs, okay? And in an instant, with nobody coming in as well, the attractions, the integrated resorts, and the many other attractions that we used to go to, or the tourists actually used to actually visit, line up just to get in, buy tickets. Now, instead of people lining up to go inside and walk through Singapore Zoo, we have all the penguins and other animals, which is now let free. And well, at least some of us are happy, the penguins at least. And in an instant, very much tailored to our retail sector, as we all knew, everything just stopped. And this is once bustling street of Chinatown. Now from Chinatown, it has become, I hate to say this, but ghost town. So amidst the gloom and doom, I hate to start off this way, but here's what the beauty about the human spirit is to adapt quickly, is to stay resilient, and somehow, just somehow, creativity and innovation just step in. And perhaps this is what they actually phrase as, you know, in times like that, necessity is the mother of invention. So you start seeing some of this business actually quickly going into the digital or taking advantage of some digital technologies, such as this too. Now, this is very ground up approach, okay? You and I, hawkers helping, or business owners helping business owners, or anyone out there, we started to realize some of the businesses here are really, really suffering through this period. And what happened was they quickly actually initiated some digital platforms out there using social media like Facebook, Instagram, to allow hawkers and other small business owners or retail to actually quickly get online so they don't get left out. Because what has changed with this work from home and everybody staying at home and closures of shops is that habits have changed so much that we are now seeing a super duper increase of online consumption, whether it's groceries or everyday supplies. So one of them is actually Tekka Market. And the funny thing is this, not all businesses everywhere are actually doing badly. I just walked downstairs. I'm staying in Sengkang, and just nearby the coffee shop downstairs, I bought some chicken rice, tapao on the way home, and I was casually just asking the chicken rice owner, say, "Hey, Tao Chiu, or boss, say, how's business?" And he just turned around with a very straight face and tell me, he say, "Wow, 好到你不相信啊." So its business is so good until you cannot believe it. So I was like stunned. And the more I thought about it, I say, hey, it makes sense because the neighborhood businesses will probably be very busy because everybody's staying at home. They still need to eat. Okay, people still need to buy things. Okay, and what about? There came the thought, well, what about the rest of the businesses in the CBD areas and where people used to go to the offices and stuff like that? They are the ones that's actually suffering. So anyway, I just wanted to share some of these innovations that kicked in out of nowhere, sprouting out like mushrooms and all things else, giving us all a chance to actually now go online quickly, using it for free, and to perhaps market our services and products to customers where we once just waited for people to come into our storefronts. So not just F&B and retail as well. If you see the entire tourism sector, which is now badly hit, nobody is traveling, they have instead brought the attractions down in the comfort of our living room. And one of these examples are actually, you can actually go right into the tomb of a Egyptian mummy, walk up and down, go stand, turn around, see some of the walls, click some of the information that you see out there. And it gives you that whole sense, well, not being able to travel, but taking you to another destination right now, right at the heart, once again, of our own living rooms. Okay, gaming companies are seeing this potential as well as one of those companies, very popular by the name of Ubisoft. They are actually harnessing and taking advantage of their existing gamers, which actually play their games, and incorporating some very exciting travel destinations in mind and giving them a, I'm using it for educational purposes as well. Okay, so many examples to share with you, just like the next one here, which is, this is on the left, you probably see Max, and Max is a fishmonger. Coming up to us live from one of the fishery ports of Pasir Panjang Wholesale Market. And every morning he actually plies his fresh produce and seafood. And what has happened here is this: it has gained such a following that now it has, I hate to say this, become a new normal. So instead of going to the fishmonger as we traditionally knew, 想当年 back then, now we are instead messaging. And Max here is presenting his wonderful kimbap law, fresh for you. And all we are doing is kimbap law +1. At the end of the day, Max has actually ingeniously collaborated with delivery companies and other establishments to complement his own, in which to send the seafood right to the doorstep of his customers that ordered. So, not forgetting as well, I must tell you how amazing this is as I go around and observe all these new digital platforms, use of social media, and how businesses are actually now starting to go and leverage and all this. I must say how well Singaporeans are actually eating during this period. There is one such actually particular website where it's called Singapore Home Cooks, and people are just buying $74, $65 A5, A4 Wagyu steaks, snapped up within 10 minutes. 10 minutes. So proof that everybody is doing, I won't say doing well, but eating really well during this period, and why not? And once again, collaborating with other businesses to actually send to your doorstep. So, apart from that, if you are like me and you enjoy a after work kind of drink, now cannot lah, sadly. No happy hours. But the happy hours just got into our living room. Some of these examples, nightclubs and clubs out there got creative. They knew at this period of time the uncertainty of things, of business resuming as normal as we knew it 3 months ago. We don't really have an idea at all. But what they do have an idea is that since they know people are staying home, and this is coming to be a new habit of ours, and without the notion of any prediction of when things are going to come on, why not bring the party to us? So some of these establishments out there, like popular ones like Zouk and so on and so forth, at first they are offering it for free. The DJ is spinning and you're partying at home, okay, together with your ama and akong. And from what I see so far and observe so far, they are starting to get creative as to how to monetize this. And if you check it out, they are starting to collaborate with beverage companies or beverage companies to actually set up packages of, I wouldn't say picnic baskets, but I would say clubbing packages to actually deliver it online. Okay, you can purchase it online and send right to your doorstep. So you can party at home as if, the atmosphere is still there. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I really wanted to share with you today as part of our conversation for this webinar is how some of these habits of ours are actually slowly changing. And the question here is this: without knowing when things are ever going back to 想当年, or what we know as normal 3 months ago or 4 months ago, why not ride the wave and anticipate that this new normal is appearing, And what with work from home and home-based learning for kids, and with the closures of business still not opening up, of course, we can say some countries are trying to slowly open up with a lot of caution. But one thing we know for sure is that this seems like a new thing that is going to stay. And with Zoom and video conferencing happening, one question in mind that I have as a small business owner is this: how can I actually fit and adapt or rethink my business models to ride this new wave that's happening right now? And now, that's not all. Increasingly, a lot of us at home are having our own personal assistants through the use of AI, voice assistants, like Google Assistant, as well as those very cool, Google Home and Amazon gadgets that you just put at home. And then through your voice, you're just saying, Google, can you tapao for me char kway teow, mai ham, and less chili, okay? And deliver at 3 p.m., please. And then Google just says, yes, certainly, sir. Okay. Increasingly now, this might seem as a novelty right now, but what I find out from a lot of people, they are increasingly using such gadgets at home to make their lives a bit more convenient. And gone are the days where we need to actually physically tap on an app. Okay. So the evolution is slowly taking place into, once again, I hate to say this, the new normal of sorts. Okay. So not to be left out is also our government services, who has actually been playing around with this, experimenting with this, okay, and through the use of chatbots like this on their pages in which to answer and perhaps fulfill some of the more frequently asked questions that us as citizens has, and now without the need to actually have a physical customer service officer actually answering all those inquiries and things like that. So with this happening, as small business owners, what we can actually use is perhaps some examples of this. And if you don't need a physical person to answer some of this usually asked questions, it gets more productive. I really save some time and cost, especially on my manpower needs. I could probably deploy what used to be a person that just handle on these inquiries to something that is more of a value add. Okay, so taking you through this journey and this whole story so far from Xiang Tang Nian 3 months ago to here, what I'm really trying to get at here is this. Again, from one business owner to another, whether small businesses, medium size, and so on and so forth, is perhaps I would like to relate it to this song, which is 往事只能回味. No, I'm not going to sing today, but essentially, perhaps it's really time to let those memories from 3 months ago, a year ago, where it was still business as usual, to really start to use this time to rethink our business models and how we can actually adapt quickly to this new normals and new behaviors that is starting to shine through. Okay? So big question here is, are we ready for the new normal? And you hear it all the time. Governments, when they go on media, they are using it. The news is using it all the time. And honestly, I'm starting to hate this word quite a bit, or this phrase quite a bit. But the reality is this: as business owners, we really, really, really have to prepare for this. And there's no other better time, because now some of these excerpts that are taken from the United Nations research that is now ongoing, and they actually highlighted that now is one of those timings that you really have to give or pay some importance to digital readiness, which allows businesses and lives to continue as usual. And again, as mentioned, some scientists and medical researchers out there are predicting second wave, third waves. Cross my fingers and toes that it doesn't happen. But are we ready if that comes? And has our businesses evolved to that point where we are now ready to take that on, to continue retail, to continue people buying from us? So I'm going to have a little short poll now, okay? And I'm just going to find out based on this visual that I have right now. And at the moment, I would love for everybody to just sink in and see where we are at these various stages. Okay, so wave one, you see a immediate term, which is describing the security and safety of workforce and establishing a response structure. Wave two is actually the stabilization, and wave three is actually in the strategic phase where we start to think in the long term. So I would like you to invite you to this poll, and you see the little blue button that is now popping out on your speech bubble. Which wave do you think we are in right now? Are we at the mobilization stage? Are we at the stabilization stage? And are we at the strategic stage at the moment? At least here in Singapore. At least here in Singapore. So if I could invite you just to take a quick poll, and we're just going to have a bit of a 1 minute to just get everybody's responses in right now and collectively see where everybody stands and how we feel. And the numbers are kind of dynamically moving, but it seems like most of us here are actually in between or more leaning towards the stabilization stage. And the first good news is, of course, we are moving into phase one, phase two, phase three, as announced by the government. But again, what is uncertain is we do not have a specific timeline. But we do know here, or we can actually have an educated guess, is this, that perhaps working from home is going to stay. Perhaps home-based learning for kids and school children is probably going to be the new norm, as it's going to stay. And perhaps office owners, okay, are now starting to rethink that, hey, you know, perhaps now all my guys are working from home. I don't really need an office. And if I don't really need an office, which means I don't have to pay rent. If I don't have to pay rent, I don't have to pay for furnishing. I don't have to pay for the pantry lady. I don't have to stock out Milo inside the pantry. And you know what I mean. Now, a lot of impacts will come out from it, and it waits to be seen and waits to be unfold. But by having an educated guess, we can roughly tell that some of these trends are leading to this new normal, especially for us in the retail industry. So just sharing you some of these trends that are where it's leading to, perhaps, again, exploring within the next 3 years, 5 years, that this could be, once again, something that, once again, a new normal. Okay, so from having a virtual experience economy and to shop streamings and live streamings, and just to share with you, I used to, my experience in the retail business was actually with this company called Louis Vuitton, or LV, luxury retail. And I have to share with you that 5 years ago, a company like LV actually engaged me to come in to revamp some of the existing practices they had. They knew that just by going on a brick and mortar storefront, waiting for people to come in to actually buy their products and handbags and leather goods, it's probably not going to work anymore in the near future. So where I came in was to actually revamp or so-called to rethink some of the business practices that they have, and especially to give shoppers a new experience when they come into the store. So to cut the story short, one of the initiatives that we had was not to focus on product trading and how to sell the products anymore, but to actually focus on the customer experience instead. And if you go into the LV store, they don't readily or don't immediately show you those leather goods and stuff like that. Because what we started to realize was this: with the internet and Google, a lot of the customers actually knew how many zippers there are, what the compartments are for, and to tell you the truth, some of the customers probably knew the items more than my staff itself. So what we tried to focus was to give an all-round experience as soon as people come into the door, was not to focus on the goods itself, but to focus on, oh, look at this painting. This was painting done by which artist? And oh, look at this piece of furniture. It was around since 1854. And to give that an all-round experience. Now, has shopping changed since then? Very much so. And now it's increasingly using digital platforms to go online. And perhaps by viewing all these trends out there, from ambient wellness to social shopping and all these things, it's now perhaps a best time to incorporate some of these ideas and really to take digital platforms to a new level, or to go deeper into it to help us in our business. Some of these experiences or examples that I can share with you, which is happening right now. Intel is working on this AI fancy AR, as they call it, augmented reality screen, where customers come into the shop, instead of going into the usual fitting rooms, okay, they are actually facing the screen. The screen takes an actual screenshot or video of themselves. AI takes over and then starts to give him color suggestions or apparel suggestions, and you could actually upsell by, you know, pairing it with new shoes or a pair of shoes or bracelets or jewelry and stuff like that. And here's the thing. On the back end, the customer data is actually being collected, okay, as to what preference they like, okay, and what colors they like. So the next time they actually go into the store once again or go online, they get their full personalization at hand. And immediately they don't really need to, you know, go searching. They get what they need instantly. Now, other examples, of course, with the use of phones getting more and more apparent nowadays, more than laptops or desktops instead. Such examples here features, once again, AR and data being used, and leveraging all these technologies to actually, once again, give really customized solutions and personalizations to all your customers. So again, taking what colors they love, what kind of styles they like, okay, and incorporating into the end user platform where the customers can easily search, okay, and it gives them a sense of, you know, say, hey, you know, this is convenient. This is actually they remember what I liked, okay, making them feel valued. Now, so many examples that I see out there, from facial recognition. And of course, this one I'm talking about is from KFC. And KFC is actually using facial recognition software right now, taking the data from his or her and all their customers' faces, and crunching those data to actually, once again, personalize the meal. And not only that, what happens in between, okay, doing a little bit of customer relationship management by sending them very targeted advertising that they might appeal to, and also to get them coming back to the stores itself. So perhaps now, instead of saying, yeah, I don't need a shop front like that anymore, well, it's not true. Actually, if by leveraging some of these digital technologies, what happens here is this. We evolve into using the same business models we have, but now instead having other additional channels in which we utilize data and stuff like that. So you're thinking, wow, all this is going to be, you know, a tremendous investment and amounts and so on and so forth. But the key thing really is this: whether we are business owners, small, big, small, or whatever it is, we have to begin with small little ways. And here is one great example. And this came out or sprung out just recently in the last, I would say, 3 weeks or so. And this is Auntie Tan, I think. Okay, and the Ticker Market Online actually featured her, and now since then she has since independently taken in live streaming as part and a parcel of her daily sales. Okay, and selling to people out there as well. So the message I just want to share is start thinking in small ways, and one utilizing some of these digital platforms out there to our good use. And of course, other bigger companies are actually leveraging already from AR to AI, in this case, Sephora, okay? Again, changing their old business models from one which is very, you know, wait for people to come into the store front and try on the makeup, to now keeping it very interactive through this use. And as time goes by, we are starting to see more and more features of such technologies being rolled out, from robots delivery to, and you probably saw a particular four-legged robot, like a little dog, going around Bishan Park, reminding everybody, please, 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 please keep your 1 meter distance, okay? This is actually being used right now during our COVID-19 period. Sending goods that people ordered to their respective offices or homes and stuff like that. And again, thinking more into the future, we can probably see some of these habits are starting to take shape. It's changing our way we actually buy things, we purchase things, from entertainment to lifestyles. And what more, bringing back a very old age idea from yesterday to this. Those lucky enough or prehistoric as me to see this happening, there used to be this van and driven by this old uncle, and it's a provision shop on wheels. Well, retro, but starting to come back in a big way. In some countries, they're actually reviving this idea in a different way. Again, this is actually provision shop on wheels. Okay, imagine going down to a HDB block downstairs, and instead of buying online, giving people an option to perhaps touch and feel those products like they would in the supermarket without going to the supermarket. And the thing about this is this, the uncle that used to drive the provision shop around, probably no more uncle, because this is a driverless vehicle. So what I'm trying to point out, ladies and gentlemen, here is this, in this half an hour, is with all these technologies out there, are we really, really leveraging it enough, okay, on all these things out there? And are we really, really going deeper into what this digital platforms and other technologies can really offer our business in redesigning and perhaps rethink that we currently have to branch out and to cater and ride the wave of these new habits, and especially these new normals, which is happening as we speak. So it's no longer just enough to just have a simple Facebook page or Instagram post, okay, and hoping people see it and so on. Perhaps now it's really time to think about how we can actually go deeper and how we can actually really, really utilize data, AI to our biggest advantage in preparing ourselves for the next 3 years, 5 years down the road. And of course, with that said, in the meantime, we have a little bit of downtime, and of course, within NTUC Learning Hub itself, they have actually curated some courses which you can actually consider to send all our colleagues and staff. And some of these courses, from Skills Future for Digital Workplace to other titles like yes, thank you, that's the slide, ICDL, digital marketing, and as well as data analytics, specially curated and specially designed to actually allow us to, once again, ride the wave of this new normal, and to not forget that we have to reskill and upskill some of our colleagues and staff out there in preparation for all these things to come. Okay, and of course, some of these courses from NTUC Learning Hub is highly customizable to your needs. Okay, and at the same time, as you can tell, the course fees over there, there is also a enhanced absenteeism payroll which you can actually claim. And of course, with that, I'm just going to pass the mic over to Aaron. Okay, who's going to share with you a little bit more about some of the initiatives that Skills Future Singapore has. So Aaron, over to you.
Right. Okay, thank you, Mark. So, afternoon, everyone. I'm Aaron from Skills Future, and I'm actually part of the enterprise engagement team. So we work with partners like DBS to share more about initiatives with SMEs and companies like yourselves. And I think like what Mark has accurately pointed out earlier, in an instant, COVID-19 has actually changed our lives and heavily impacted the retail industry. physical interactions are not allowed. Businesses are required to adapt quickly. You need to take your operations online and also digitalize. So due to all these changes, this could actually be a good time for you to think about your business transformation and to adapt to these changing times. And we have this new Skills Future Enterprise Credit, or SFEC, which was recently announced during the budget speech this year. And this will be able to help you to provide some additional support to defray your costs when you take on business transformation initiatives, which I'll also share more in the later slides. So how does SFEC help companies to defray their cost of transformation? For SFEC, it actually provides eligible companies with $10,000 worth of credits to cover 90% of your out-of-pocket expenses. And you can actually use these credits for enterprise transformation or workforce transformation purposes. So what exactly does workforce enterprise transformation cover? To put it simply, SFEC provides you with additional funding to undertake business transformation initiatives based on some of its supported programs. And SFEC funding is on top of the existing funding provided by these supported programs. This is a list of some of the examples of the supported programs under the enterprise transformation bucket. So for example, if let's say your company wishes to purchase some pre-approved IT solution, and you can actually take on this productivity solutions grant. So this is one of the supported programs under SFEC, and it provides you with up to 80% funding to do so. And thereafter, on top of the 80% funding, SFEC will add on to the funding by covering 90% of the remaining amount that you are required to pay. So in a way, SFEC is like a rider on top of these base programs to give you additional funding. And also, other than just using it to transform your business, you can also use SFEC for your workforce transformation as well. So under Skills Future and Workforce Singapore, there are various supported programs which are covered under this SFEC as well. So for instance, under the supported programs by WSG, you can use SFEC credits to redesign your jobs for employees. You can also cover the costly expenses under their professional conversion program and so on. And under Skills Future, we also have more than 7,000 industry approved courses, which you can also send your employees to. So if you look at this whole training, this whole program as a whole, on one end, you can use these credits to purchase new equipment, new solutions, transform your business. And while doing so, also utilize these credits to send your workers for as well. And why there's a cap of 7,000 for the enterprise transformation bucket, because we also wish to encourage companies to train your workers and equip them with the right skills to meet your new demands for business, while you introduce new technology or processes into your business. So this is an example of how you can use SFEC. If let's say your company wishes to automate certain processes, maybe purchase a new IT solution in maybe let's say inventory management, and the initial cost of this whole system is about $30,000, and you decide to tap on the productivity solutions grant. So currently it provides you with up to 80% funding. So after the PSG funding, you will only need to pay $6,000. So this is when SFEC will come in and it covers 90% of your remaining cost. So you will only need to pay $600 for this IT solution, which would have cost you $30,000 in the first place. And also at the same time, you can send your employees for industry relevant courses under Skills Future as well. So one of the courses that we have under, in the whole list of 7,000 courses that we have is this service leadership training. Currently, this training costs about $440. And for SMEs, there is already an existing subsidy under Skills Future, which provides you with up to 90% funding for our approved courses. So after the Skills Future existing funding, you will only need to pay $44. Then SFEC will come in again and cover 90% of the remaining amount they're required to pay, and further reduces your cost to only around $4 plus. So this is some additional information about SFEC. For application-wise, companies do not have to apply for it. You automatically be eligible for SFEC as long as you these three criteria. Firstly, you contribute at least 7 skills development levy over a qualifying period. These 3 Singaporean or PR employees employed over the same period and have not qualified in any of the earlier periods. So these are the 4 qualifying periods, and if you're eligible for SFEC, you'll actually be informed by Enterprise Singapore, notified in writing by Enterprise Singapore from July onwards. And if you would like to find out more about SFEC, you can actually visit our website here or just drop us an email. You can also visit the list of approved courses via the link indicated here. So over at this link, you can have access to the entire list of courses that's covered under SFEC, which I mentioned earlier. Okay, so I mentioned earlier SMEs are eligible for some form of existing SkillsFuture funding when you send employees for training. So in the next few slides, I'll also share with you more about the subsidies that employers can receive when you send your workers for training. So if you're an SME or if you send your Singaporean workers above 40 for training, you can receive up to 90% cost fee funding. And also at the same time, to minimize opportunity costs for employers when your workers are away for training, employers can also receive absentee payroll funding to defray the manpower costs incurred. So SMEs can actually receive up to $750 per hour, and non-SMEs can receive up to $450 per hour of absentee payroll funding. And this is to actually offset the cost and downtime when you send your workers for training. So, however, because of this current COVID-19 situation, support for sectors which are heavily hit, government has also announced that eligible companies in these 6 sectors will also receive up to 90% cost fee funding. And this is regardless of whether you are an SME or a non-SME. So other than SMEs being able to receive up to 90% funding, which I mentioned earlier, non-SMEs in these affected sectors will also receive up to 90% funding. And the retail sector is also one of the sectors covered under this enhanced package as well. So furthermore, the absentee payroll funding rate has also been enhanced, and this is applicable for all sectors, not just the 6 sectors. Of $750 per 50 per hour for non-SMEs, it has been enhanced up to 90% of your employees' hourly salary, capped at $10 per training hour. And this is also applicable for both SMEs and non-SMEs. So this example of how you can use the enhanced funding, for example, for this course in digital commerce operations for the retail sector, this is actually a 24-hour course and spread over a couple of days. So after the 90% funding, this course will only cost you about $170. And with the enhanced absentee payroll of up to $10 per hour, employers can receive up to a maximum of $240 when you send your employees 24-hour training. And if you'd like to find out more about the exact amount of funding you can receive, you can check with the training provider directly, and they will be able to advise you on the exact amount that you're required to pay. So just to summarize, if let's say your company would want to get up to 90% cost fee subsidy, you need to either be firstly an SME, or you send your Singaporean employees above 40 for training, or you belong to any of the 6 sectors which I mentioned earlier, and this is regardless of whether you are an SME or non-SME. So this is actually a good time for you to maybe take advantage of this downtime and the enhanced funding provided to invest in your employee skills development, retrain them, upskill them, so that when things eventually start picking up again, business starts going back to normal, at least your employees are equipped with the necessary and relevant skills to meet the new demands. So lastly, just to share with you more on some of the additional resources we have to help you better navigate through our programs and initiatives. SkillsFuture Singapore and Workforce Singapore, we actually have this enterprise portal for jobs and skills. So this is a one-stop portal which houses all our programs and initiatives. So at this portal, you can find useful guides on how to create a training plan for a company, job redesign toolkits, and also many useful toolkits and resources. And all the various programs under SSG and WSG are also housed at this portal as well. So in this portal, you can actually do a search for suitable programs based on the various categories, depending on what your business is looking for. It could be maybe developing human capital, designing jobs, digitalizing HR practices, or even reducing dependency on foreign workers. So you can actually select the relevant category and it'll show you a whole list of applicable programs based on what you're looking for. And more information about the programs and subsidies, which I shared earlier on SFEC and the training subsidy, can also be found on this website as well. So you can actually scan this QR code or maybe just pop by this website to find out more. So I've come to the end of my sharing. Up next, we have my colleague Eunice from Workforce Singapore, who will be sharing with you on some of the WSG programs like the SG United initiatives for the retail sector.
Okay, thank you, Erin. Hi, everyone. My name is Eunice from Workforce Singapore, and I'm with the Tourism Division. So, on top of the various courses from LHub and the support from Skills Future Singapore, I'm glad to be able to share with you on the programs that WSG has in place for you and your companies to support you during this period of time. So, for those of you who might not have heard of Workforce Singapore before, we are actually an agency under the Ministry of Manpower, and as an agency, our core mission at WSG is to empower individuals to adapt and help enterprises to transform under two main umbrella initiatives called the Adapt and Grow and Transform and Grow initiatives. So for Adapt and Grow programs, these programs are actually targeted to support workforce transformation. And some of these examples actually include the Professional Conversion Program, PCP in short, and Career Trial. On the other hand, we have the Transform and Grow programs as well, which aims to support enterprises on their business transformation. So some of these programs actually include like WorkPro and Job Redesign that you might have heard of. So today, I'll just focus on sharing with you the two most recent programs we have introduced for the retail sector that you could consider during this current situation. So complementing the AirHub programs that Mark has shared earlier on digitalization, if your enterprise is actually looking to transform your business during this period of time, a potential program which you may want to consider tapping on is the Service Industry Transformation Program, and also to support enterprises on your manpower deployment during this COVID period, especially through job facilitation. I'll also be talking about another support program provided by Workforce Singapore, which I think many of you might have heard, called the SG United Jobs Initiative. But first, talking about the Service Industry Transformation Program, SITP in short, this program is actually supported by Workforce Singapore and is curated to work with enterprises in the lifestyle sectors. So, mainly your food services, hotels, retail, tour and travels, and whatnot. So, this is to help you plan your manpower demand while staying competitive and to help the workforce transform and adapt to future-ready jobs. So, we have appointed Singapore Productivity Centre as our program manager. And the program will actually comprise of both classroom learning as well as guided project implementation. So this course is actually highly subsidized for SMEs with funding of up to 90% and will cost $1,800 per company who is keen to participate. And you can actually send up to 2 representatives to go for this program. So I think the good news as well is that SITP is actually eligible for the Skills Future Singapore Skills Future Enterprise Credit. It's quite a mouthful, which Erin has shared about earlier on. Yeah, so looking at the detailed course structure of SITP, the program actually comes with a 2 days knowledge transfer workshop covering modules such as service design, customer journey mapping, job redesign, and workforce planning, amongst all of that. So in addition, there will also be consultants who are assigned by Singapore Productivity Centre to be attached to your company for 6.5 days for on-site project guidance while your company goes through and embarks on this transformation journey. So in view of the COVID situation, this program is actually now available online as well. So moving on, one such example that we can share with you of a company that is actually currently going through the project is an F&B company who has stepped on this program to redesign their work processes through digitalization. So through the support of the consultants, the company actually conducted interviews with their customers and reviewed their customer journey mapping to identify the gaps and opportunities in the company's services. Yeah. So as a result, the company is actually looking to implement mobile QR ordering systems to kind of enhance their customer experiences. And with that, they actually expect to see a reduction in customer waiting time and their payment process time as well. So similarly, this could actually apply to retail companies to review the whole customer journey mapping, look at potential digital tools, and how this can actually help you plan your manpower demand. And the next program, which I would like to talk about today, is the SG United Jobs Initiative. So this is actually a new initiative where Workforce Singapore enhances our job matching support to companies which are heavily affected by COVID-19. So under this initiative, what WSG does is that we will actually provide employment facilitation between companies with excess manpower and also companies with manpower demand. So Workforce Singapore or our appointed program managers will actually work with individual companies throughout this process. And for companies who are keen to participate, you can either post or search for the job openings via Workforce Singapore's My Careers Future portal, or reach out to the respective program managers, which will be shared with you after this. So with that, thank you. And now I would like to pass the time back to Mark.
All right. Thank you very much, Aaron and Eunice, for that sharing. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for spending an hour with us so far. With that, also, we have come to the end of our sharing, but don't go yet. Moving on to the Q&A right now, where we would like to invite you to actually post any questions that you might have. Okay. Again, the icon is on the right-hand side of your screen, the last one on your tab right there that you see. And not to worry, if we do not have enough time to actually answer all your questions today, once again, the business class team will be actually consolidating it, and they will definitely follow up with you with an EDM. Okay, so if I can invite you to submit any questions you have at this stage right now. And we will have Aaron, of course, from Skills Future, and Eunice from Workforce Singapore. And together with that, from NTUC Learning Hub, we have Frederick to actually respond to all your queries. Okay, so I'm just checking yes, any questions right there? Okay, so we have one question here, which is, can the course be tailored for my business and employees? So Frederick, over to you.
Hi. Oh, yes. This course can be contextualized to meet your company training needs, and so you can infuse relevant case studies, examples according to your company context or organization context, and open to your industry as well. Yeah. Thanks, Mark.
Another question. Okay, so currently, how are the courses conducted? Because we have a question that said at the moment you cannot, go into the traditional training classroom, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I answer this question as well. So due to work from home measures and current situation, so majority of our courses are conducted via virtual learning classroom. So you have PC or desktop, webcam, mic, you are able to log on. And then one of the platforms that we are using is Zoom or even Microsoft Teams. Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Great. Thank you, Frederick. And real quickly, Frederick, you seem like a popular guy. We have another question directed at you. What is the course fees for SMEs, and are we able to get subsidies for the course?
Okay, so for the three programs that you have shared earlier on, Skill Future for digital workplace, course fee is only $50 for Singaporeans and PR. And for ICDL digital marketing is 113.60 cents. And for the data analytics will be 85. So these all courses can be also tapped on the absentee payroll of up to $10 per hour. Yeah.
And perhaps Aaron from Skills Future as well, you have something to add to that?
Yeah, so I thought maybe I just add on a little as I mentioned in my sharing earlier, currently SMEs, they are eligible for 90% subsidies, up to 90% subsidies, and especially for companies in affected sectors like the retail sector. Even for non-SMEs, if let's say you are in the retail sector, you are also eligible for up to 90% funding as well. So if you want to find out more about the exact amount that you need to pay after all this funding, how much absentee payroll funding that you can actually receive, you can check with the training providers directly. Like what Frederick has mentioned earlier, they'll be able to advise you directly on the exact amount that you will need to pay and the amount of absentee payroll that you can actually expect to receive.
Eunice, is there anything else you would like to add on as well?
No, I think that Aaron and Frederick kind of encapsulated everything, so it's all good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's see. I'm just checking again if there is one more question that's coming in. Customization of the courses to our company context mentioned earlier. Does it come with an additional cost? Okay, this is typical, tauke kind of question. I'm also very I would ask that question. So any contextualization that's done or customization that's done, does it come with an additional cost? So perhaps Frederick?
Okay. So basically, depends on the complexity of the customization. So if currently our courses we are able to verbally contextualize, we can actually provide examples, case studies from our existing content with a retail setting, or we are able to, if you can provide us with relevant case studies, we are able to infuse it. That doesn't even will charge you any additional costs. But if you want to change the whole course content or modules that you want to customize the whole programs to suit your training needs, then there are minimum class size that we will need to absorb the additional costs. So we can actually work offline. If you have more questions pertaining to this customization, you can actually write to us, and then I will share with you more in details. Thanks, Mark.
Great, thank you, Frederick. So I hope that answered your question to the person that posted. Let's see again if we have any other questions so far. Okay, just one more just popped up, just like how digital use is coming along these days. Okay, for the service industry transformation program, is there a timeline? We have to start and finish the workshop. Because I'll be away on maternity leave and only be back in the office at the end of the year. Okay, for that person who posed this question, congratulations on the bundle of joy first. So I would say this would be for Eunice.
Yeah. So, okay, with regards to the program, there isn't exactly a timeline. For the 2 days workshop, of course, we have different dates scheduled. So typically they take place every month or so. So every month there will be different runs. So no worries, you can wait until after your maternity and go back. It's fine as well. But for the 6.5 days of project guidance, that the consultants will actually work with you to see what kind of time is suitable for you. So it can take place over a period of time as well. But of course, it'll be good if you can have someone who will be there throughout the consultation and guidance as well, so that they can follow through the whole project. Yeah.
Okay, so great. Thank you, Eunice. So important, baby first. Training later can do, but baby first. Okay. All right. I'm just going to see if there's any other questions that is posted. Just checking again. And okay, so we have one for Aaron. Aaron, yes. Enhanced training support package. Does retail only refers to physical retail, or is online retail also applicable? Because online retail, some of them are also dealing with, they're suffering to shoes, bags, and stuff like that. So the question here is it only referring to or applies to only physical retail, storefront?
For the retail sector, there's actually no criteria whether it must be a physical retail, or maybe an online retail. But as long as you fall within the retail sector, you are eligible for this funding. Or if let's say you want to find out more whether your company is eligible for this funding under the retail sector, you can also check directly with your training provider, because they will also be able to advise you on the amount of funding that you can actually receive. Yeah.
Okay, so it seems like there's no clear indication whether it has to be a storefront, brick and mortar store, or online. So that's a good thing. Again, I'm just going to see. All right, so we have one more question there coming in from Mr. Ng. Mr. Ng is asking, okay, the slide shown stating that minimum of 750 SDL, okay, which is the skills development levy, I believe, okay, paid with the period to be eligible. Can you elaborate on this?
Okay, so for the SDL, you need to contribute at least 750 SDL within the qualifying period. So there are actually 4 qualifying periods, if you actually can see it from the slides previously. I'm not sure if you're able to bring up that slide right now, but there are 4 different qualifying periods. So as long as you contribute 750 SDL within that entire qualifying period, and you meet the other criteria like hiring at least 3 Singaporean or PR within that entire qualifying period, you will be eligible for SFEC.
Great, thank you so much, Aaron.
So the 4
And
qualifying
Mr.
periods are actually, yeah, the 4 qualifying periods are actually 1st April to 31st March, 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020, 1st July 2019 to 30th July 2020, October 2019 to September 2020, and January to 2020. So the periods actually last 1 entire year. So you need to contribute at least 750 SDR within this entire period. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Aaron. Perhaps we can get the DBS business class friends of ours to actually take note of this question, and perhaps after this follow up with some resources and links that for Mr. Ng as well. And I'm just checking through and to see if there's any more questions. Okay, one more here. How can we apply for the course fee funding in absentee payroll? So perhaps this is for Frederick and even Aaron. Frederick?
Okay, so basically, if you have selected the programs, we will give you a couple of documents to fill up, like registration form and all that. So after that, once you have completed the course with at least 75% of attendance and of course competence for your assessment, okay, we will provide you with the attendance and all that, and then you can actually log into Skill Connect to apply for the training grant number as well as the absentee payroll. Maybe Aaron can explain more on this. Aaron, over to you.
So like what Frederick has mentioned earlier, for absentee payroll and the course fee funding, the training providers are able to let you know how much you need to pay and how to go about applying for it. So in the previous slide, during my sharing, I also shared on this enterprise portal for jobs and skills. So there's actually, you can actually find useful guides on how to apply for our absentee payroll through that portal as well. So currently, absentee payroll, you can actually apply it through our Skills Connect system. And from July onwards, you can actually apply for absentee payroll through our new training grant system instead as well. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And of course, thank you, Frederick, Aaron, and Eunice. I've been informed that I'm so afraid that's all the time we have for you here today. We don't want to keep you any longer from thinking what to cook next for dinner. So we've come to the end of our webinar session. And of course, once again, for any questions that we are unable to get to you here or unable to answer immediately right now, once again, the business class team will consolidate all of them, okay, and we'll share our responses as a follow-up to you, okay? So once again, thank you so much for joining us today at the SME Academy Live. And this has been the Upskills for the Future for the Retail Sector, brought to you exclusively by DBS Business Class. So DBS Business Class, once again, is an engagement program by DBS SME Banking, designed for our business community to actually access opportunities for growth, both in business and capabilities. So members are, of course, given exclusive access to business thought leadership, market insights, and industry trends that's actually delivered at our signature Disrupt series of events and held across the region. So if you want to, okay, and you're really interested, then you can register for your free membership at go.dbs.com and be subscribed. Okay, so this has been, of course, Aaron and Eunice and Frederick, and of course, on behalf of all of them and all of you, thank you for being such a wonderful audience today. And with that, this is Mark signing off, and stay safe and healthy, everyone. Thank you so much.